Hey guys, it's Niklas here from Build Fitness, and in this video I'm going to show you how to go from a fat and fluffy physique to a more fit and ripped Hollywood actor type physique. A few months ago I did a successful cut where I went from around 22% body fat down to 10% body fat while increasing my strength slightly in the process. I know that going from the fat to fit physique is one of the hardest transformations a person can make. Once someone has become fat, their body has more or less adapted to being fat, which means that getting and especially staying lean becomes tougher. A bit discouraging, I know. But the good news is that with the correct strategies in place and with a bit of willpower, you can make staggering change in just a few months. In fact, if you're starting on this point, you can build muscle and lose fat at the same time for at least the first 3 to 6 months. And once your waist becomes smaller, your shoulder to waist ratio will automatically improve and your chest, back and arms will look a lot bigger, giving you that great looking V-taper. Okay, so let's uncover how to make this transformation. Let's go! Okay, so first of all, let's define the journey. Knowing where you are now and where you need to go will help you see the changes that needs to be made. By knowing this, you will set your expectations straight from the beginning. Now, I'm assuming that your goal physique is one that looks like this. This kind of physique has a slim waist, thick shoulders and upper back, masculine square chest, well-developed arms and athletic legs. The good news is that in order to reach a physique like this, you don't have to give up on your life and dedicate all of your time to training and dieting. All you have to do to achieve this kind of look is to shrink your waist, improve your muscular definition, and get strong on certain exercises to develop your muscle mass. It really is that simple. But getting there requires at least some time and effort, as you won't get there without doing any work. So with that said, to successfully achieve this physique, you must do two things. 1. Reach 8 to 10% body fat. This is where your waist is around 45% of your height. And 2. Reach the following strength standards in the gym. So as you can see, this is your goal. If you hit these numbers, you will look like the guys in the picture. Now, I don't know what your current conditioning is, but it's likely that you're not close to these standards yet. I'm sure that you need to lose a good amount of body fat and also get stronger than what you currently are. So, to reach these standards, here's what you need to do. 1. Lose body fat until your waist reaches around 45% of your height. Depending on how much fat you have to lose, this cut may take anywhere from 3 to 9 months. 2. Once your waist reaches around 45% of your height, eat at maintenance calories for 2 to 3 weeks. 3. Once the maintenance phase is over, move into a lean bulking phase and start gaining the muscle mass needed to create great muscular proportions. This lean bulk should take you no less than 8 to 12 months depending on your training experience. 4. Once you have bulked yourself up to 14 to 15% body fat, where your waist is around 48% of your height, it's time to cut back down to around 10% body fat again. Ideally, as you're gaining size, you should never go above 15% body fat again. For optimal results, your cut and bulk cycles should be kept in the range of 8 to 15% body fat. This way you will have good muscular definition all the time and your face will stay relatively chiseled. 5. Repeat this process until you have built enough size to not look small when you cut down to 10% body fat. And 6. Enjoy life to the utmost in the meantime. That is pretty much the process that you need to take to go from fat to fit. Now, let's look at how to set up your nutrition and training, starting with nutrition. Losing body fat all comes down to nutrition. In order to lose body fat, you must consistently take in fewer calories than what your body burns during your days. In other words, you must be in a prolonged calorie deficit. To succeed with this, you should be able to enjoy yourself in the meantime so that you can stick to the fat loss plan long term. And also, in order to support muscle growth, hormonal balance, well-being and gym performance, you must take in the correct amount of macronutrients, protein, carbs and fat. So, let's start by setting up your calorie deficit first. Starting out with the fat physique, you can use a larger calorie deficit in the beginning and still see great results. You should be able to lose 2 to 3 pounds or 1 to 1.5 kilograms of body fat per week in the beginning. And 1 to 1.5 pounds or 0.4 to 0.7 kilos as you get leaner. As long as you make strength gains in the gym, you will be able to build muscle during this time while your weight goes down very fast. To achieve this, I recommend setting the following calorie deficit. 25 to 30% below maintenance calories in the beginning when you are above 15% body fat. And then 20 to 25% below maintenance calories as you start to get leaner, when you get under 15% body fat. And use this formula to find out your maintenance calories. 15 times your pounds of body weight or 33 times your kilogram of body weight. Now, one thing that is important to mention here is that your calorie deficit should be created through your diet and not through cardio. This is because excessive cardio interferes with weight training performance. The calorie deficit already has negative effects on anabolic hormones, and it also reduces your muscle protein synthesis. So, creating most of your calorie deficit from cardio just increases the risk of you losing muscle mass on your cut. So a good rule of thumb is to create 80% of your calorie deficit through your diet and then 20% from cardio. Okay, so let's move on to setting up your macros. In order to lose body fat while building muscle and feeling well in the process, I recommend that you're eating close to the following macronutrient ratios. Protein 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight, fat 20 to 30% of total calories, and carbs the remaining calories left. You don't have to hit your fat and carb intake perfectly. These two macros can vary from day to day. However, I do recommend that you stick to 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight per day. This is because protein is highly satiating and the macro that will help you build muscle as you get lean. As a last note when it comes to nutrition, make sure that you stay consistent. All you must do for fat loss is to consistently hit the calories and macros that you calculated. Don't worry about things such as glycemic index, when during the day you should eat and which supplements to take and so on. Those things are minutiae. Your calories and macros will stand for 85% of your results, and that is what is important right now. Okay, so let's move on to training. If muscle growth is your goal, you should do your best to get stronger in the gym. That's it. If you really want to go from fat to fit, then you must improve in the gym over time. The biggest mistake that people most often make as they start working out is that they're trying to train exclusively for size. But unfortunately, this doesn't work very well. The reason for this is that muscle only grows for two reasons. One, to produce more force, which is done by increasing the size of the contractile tissue so it can lift heavier weights. And two, to improve endurance, which is done by increasing the capacity to store glycogen around the muscle fibers. Both training that increases strength and training that increases muscular endurance will lead to growth. Now, with that said though, for natural trainees and especially individuals with a fat physique, training for strength in the 4 to 10 rep range is definitely the best approach to take. The first reason for this is that you will do more effective reps in less total time. Training within the 4 to 10 rep range has been shown in research to be way more effective than both the lower and higher rep ranges. The second reason why the 4 to 10 rep range is a better choice is because the most common struggle a fat individual faces is a large appetite. And guess what? Higher rep pump training usually leads to insatiable hunger, while a more strength-oriented training routine does not. Training in the 4 to 10 rep range will simply lead to easier fat loss. Lastly, the 4 to 10 rep range is very easy to make progressive overload and get stronger over time in. And this is key for muscle growth. In the 4 to 10 rep range, you can make larger leaps in weight that are both easier to track and more motivating to achieve, making it a great rep range for fast strength progression. Now, beyond using the 4 to 10 rep range, the fastest way to make both strength and muscle gains as a beginner to novice trainee is to train a few key exercises very often, around 2 to 3 times per week. And the main reason for this is to create neurological adaptations more quickly. The majority of the initial strength gains a person makes are neurological. When an individual starts lifting weights, they are weak not just because their muscles are small, but mainly because the nervous system is not trained to recruit muscle fibers properly. Training each main exercise 2 to 3 times a week gives you a lot of opportunity to practice the movement. This helps you make the neurological adaptations as fast as possible and get to the point where muscle fibers have to increase in size to contribute to strength, which is the point where you start to build muscle effectively. The reason you can train more often in the beginning is because you don't lift very heavy weights yet, meaning you don't create much muscle damage either. For this reason, you don't need much recovery after training. 2 days of rest are usually enough to allow you to recover and be able to replicate or surpass your previous performance. I'm sure you have noticed this yourself. In the first weeks of lifting, you set a PR each time you hit the gym. For this reason, it makes sense to train and exercise more often to make progress as fast as possible. And since you will be training each muscle group 2 or 3 times a week with high intensity, the number of exercises, sets and reps done each session must be on the lower end. Otherwise, you won't be able to recover. So with that said, if you are a complete beginner, here's the training routine that I recommend you use for the first 3 to 6 months. And here's how to make progress and get stronger over time with this routine. Okay, so there you have it. This nutrition and training plan that we just went through will provide you with great results during your first few months. After that, it's very likely that you will need to make adjustments to your training and nutrition. So, to avoid making this video into a long documentary, I created a complete guide that I call How to Build an Aesthetic Physique for You. It's a completely free ebook that guides you step by step from your starting point to your goal physique. You can get the guide for free by following the link down in the description. So make sure that you read the guide, and if you have any questions, please ask them below and I will answer them as soon as possible. Bye.